reflective of modern culture. Music education has not shared a vicarious reflection of society through music for about a half a century. This examination of the relationships between society, vernacular music, and music education address several core flaws in the current music education system and offers solutions that would allow the dissonances between vernacular music and educational music to again become consonant.
Modern popular music is important to keep the students, I think, that are into that music engaged. So the professors knowing about that stuff and being able to relate it in the classroom is important. But a lot of that music is built a certain way that sometimes leads to good discussions of looking at music theory and how music is constructed, and sometimes it doesn't.
Although most choirs often sing classical music, popular music as well as musical theater are now songs that you will hear being performed as well as modern and dated classical genres of music. These different song choices in a K-12 school will give the student ways to explore different sounds.
If it's a music business student, then knowing how modern popular music is created and how it's produced is really important. But if you're learning to be a music historian, then it really doesn't have a place. It's hard to find sonata form in Lady Gaga.
In an article by Cameron Mahoney entitled Differences Between Classical Music and Modern Music, it explains the differences between the two eras of music. The instrumentation, style, form, purpose, and method of creation are all the things that were analyzed. Quote, "While modern music often expresses emotion through the singer of a group, there is more of an emphasis on improvisation and variation than in classical music." Unquote. Classical music's purpose is generally to entertain an audience and stimulate listeners emotionally and intellectually. While some modern music is developed to stimulate listeners in similar ways, it veers in a different direction from classical music. Modern music is commonly used for dance, which, with the exception of ballet, is not the case in classical music. Westminster Choir College is a primarily classical school with student-run organizations that offer different genres of music such as pop and jazz. The school lacks musical diversity.
What about jazz? What about music from the Far East, such as China or Japan? What about, music in South American styles? Why aren't we training our musicians to become the next generation of rappers? With only one type of music at this school, which is Western classical music, aka the music of dead white European guys, we're missing out on everything else. We are stuck with the ideals and, the characteristics set forth in Western classical music, which, for the most part are perfectionism, conformity, and strict adherence to structure, which on a grander scale really reflects society in America today.
Berklee College of Music is another music conservatory like Westminster Choir College, but there are great amounts of musical diversity in the school. Students get a more diverse and well-rounded education because of the music studied and offered here.
Being surrounded by different styles of music at Berklee is a very educational and humbling experience. Sometimes being around one style of music can get boring or overwhelming, but it's nice to see other musicians doing other stuff like pop rock and hip hop and metal. Not that I'm really into any of those as much, and also bluegrass is really big here too. But yeah, it's cool because you can draw from each of those styles and it makes you a more well-rounded and creative and innovative musician.
We don't value conformity, we don't value performance, we're not doing it for perfection. The whole purpose of it is for the individual musician's growth at their own pace, an authentic sense of community, which is lacking at this school, and performing music for what I call sakeism, which is both authentic, genuine, and performing music for music's sake, not for the right notes, not for personal gain, not for the performance, just because it's true to yourself.
As you can see, having a more diverse classroom is better for you as a musician and educator, and it ultimately benefits the student, no matter their musical preference.